This is Michael Popak, Legal AF. You know what popped into my mind today, listening to Donald Trump flip-flop about whether he will or will not testify, whether the gag order does or does not apply to him? I feel like I was listening to an oral version of the evolutionary stages of man. You know, like it started with Homo erectus, then Neanderthal man, then Homo sapien. We went from Donald Trump. I'm going to play you each clip of what the judge did today. We went from Donald Trump saying, I'd love to testify, but I'm gagged, to, apparently I can testify, I'm not gagged, to responding to a reporter's question about whether he's going to testify by walking away. Those were the three stages of Donald Trump's evolution on the position of whether he can or cannot testify because of the gag order. Look, Judge Merchan cleared it all up himself. He started court before the jury got in there by telling Donald Trump the following: I want to stress, Mr. Trump, that you have an absolute right to testify at trial, that the order only prohibits extrajudicial statements. It does not prevent you from testifying. The fact that the judge had to come out and teach Donald Trump self-reporting or testimony and the self-incrimination rule of the Fifth Amendment privilege, like testimonial 101 with his lawyer, Todd Blanche, and Susan Neckles sitting next to him, is just mind-boggling. So let's go through the evolutionary positions of Donald Trump. We'll play the first clip earlier in the week when Donald Trump, with his lawyer next to him, okay, watch the pained expression on Todd Blanche's face, because he knows the gag order doesn't apply to testimony in the courtroom for Donald Trump or the waiver of his Fifth Amendment privilege. Let's play that clip first.
What do you think about the David's testimony?
Well, I'm not allowed to testify. I'm under a gag order, I guess. I can't even testify on that. No, we're going to be appealing the gag order. I'd love to answer that question. It's a very easy question, the easiest question so far. But I'm not allowed to testify because this judge, who's totally conflicted, has me under an unconstitutional gag order. Nobody's ever had that before. And we don't like it, and it's not fair. Other people are allowed to do whatever they want to us, and I'm not allowed, as a presidential candidate, the leading candidate, the Republican Party nominee, and the one who's leading Biden by a lot, I'm not allowed to talk. There's never been any abuse like this before. This conflicted judge ought to get out of this case. He should not be having this case. He gives us nothing. It's such a rigged court. So I'm not allowed to testify because of an unconstitutional gag order. We're appealing the gag order, and let's see what happens. Thank you very much.
Okay. Then the press jumped on it. You know, you saw Todd Blanche like, yeah, that seems right. What law school, Todd, did you go to that seemed right? You know the gag order. You know the extended or expanded gag order. You know what it doesn't, what it tries to prevent: extrajudicial statements that undermine the sanctity of the criminal justice process, including attacking witnesses and jurors. What does that have to do with the Fifth Amendment privilege? So then the judge decided, I better take matters into my own hand, because he doesn't want an appellate record replete with what seems to be a complete misunderstanding or misapprehension of the law, not only by Donald Trump, by his own lawyers, about what the gag order can and can't be used for, what it does and does not preclude in terms of Donald Trump's conduct. I mean, the appellate court, the Appellate Division First Department, of which I'm a member in New York, has affirmed the gag order and the expanded gag order. But for Donald Trump to act like, like he's eating paste in the corner, like a stupid schoolboy, I don't get it. I think the gag order means I can't testify. So the judge had to come out and tell him, let me make this clear, Mr. Trump, absolutely clear. You have an absolute right to testify. So then Donald Trump goes back out, to that bicycle rack barricade that he uses for his press conferences, usually with forcing Todd Blanche to stand by his side, his lawyer. And now we've got the following clip. In which he says, well, no, apparently now it's been clarified. I can testify. Let's roll that clip.
Thank you very much.
The gag order stop you from testifying?
No, it won't stop me from testifying. The gag order is not to testify. The gag order stops me from talking about people and responding when they say things about me. We have people saying things about me and I'm not allowed to respond. So this judge has taken away my constitutional right. And as the Republican candidate and somebody that's leading Biden by a lot, I should be able to respond. But this guy's got me with a gag order. Now we're filing, I think today, a constitutional motion to get this out. We'll be filing a lawsuit on the constitutionality of it. But if somebody says something about me and I'm not allowed to respond, that's never happened before. Thank you. Thank you.
So now I think we're up to Neanderthal men in my example. And then, of course, the press won't let up because they know they're sticking a finger into a wound of Donald Trump like a hot button, and they're getting a lot of benefit out of it in terms of their coverage. So the press asked him again at one of his press conferences, are you going to testify? And listen to Donald Trump's response again with lawyers present. Let's roll that clip.
You plan on testifying? Is it fair to consider the act?
Well, there you have the president speaking.
You know, so it's just, let's step back here for a minute. Do I believe that Donald Trump doesn't realize the gag order doesn't apply to his testimony in court? In court testimony? No. It's just another example. And his followers and listeners in MAGA allow him to do this. They like it. It's like, I don't know, it's some sort of drug that they like taking that he dispenses where he doesn't tell them the truth and they're okay with it. Because by the time I get around or somebody else in the MeidasTouch network or Legal AF, one of the contributors, sits down here and records a hot take, it's already out. It's already out. It's already on Fox News or New York Post or one of these other MAGA rags that Donald Trump's worried that he doesn't, the judge is undermining his privilege to testify in his own defense. Now, let me break that down for a minute. I have a better chance of growing wings and flying around this room than Donald Trump taking the stand occurring. I mean, I'm making a bet with myself here. I've already lost one bet. I'm making a bet with myself. There is no way that Donald Trump, I know that he tried to commandeer the beast and take the Secret Service and his armored SUV to the Capitol and commandeer it. I know he runs his own, PR machine. And he could throw over his lawyers, but I'm sure they're telling them that every time you testify, Trump, you lose. You testify, you lose. You don't testify, you lose also. But when you do testify, it's even worse. E. Jean Carroll, first case, rape, defamation, punitive damages. He doesn't testify, he loses. Criminal prosecution of his main companies for tax evasion and business record fraud. Sort of what's going on right now in the New York trial involving other business record fraud. He doesn't testify. Jury convicts 17 counts of felony counts against his companies. E. Jean Carroll, 2. He does testify, or whatever he does. And he loses this time by a magnitude of an additional, 14 times, $83.5 million because he testified. New York Attorney General case. Testifies falsely under oath in front of the judge and is caught for it. Testifies, tries to commandeer the podium to do his closing argument with his lawyers standing there. Loses. $465 million judgment. Every grand jury that's looked at Donald Trump has either recommended he be indicted or indicted him. So against these tremendous cross currents and turbulence and headwinds, Donald Trump would have to make the extraordinary decision that he's willing to throw caution to the wind and testify in front of the jury, waive his Fifth Amendment privilege because he thinks he'll do better for a Class E felony case, which could put him in jail for up to 10 years, but is more likely to put him in jail for a year or less, probably 6 months or less. Is he going to risk it all for that? And the jury could also try to convict him only of a misdemeanor and not even a felony, which would shorten or reduce the amount of jail time to zero. I don't think he's going to testify. He'll try other tricks, try to mistry the case, go after Michael Cohen, pressure the judge, try to get appellate issues for appeal. That's the Donald Trump that I know. Delay, but take the stand and have it be successful, right? And absolve himself of criminal liability in front of a jury? No way. So all this stuff, well, I find it amusing, and I need to report on it. And the evolution of Donald Trump, I'm gagged. I can't testify. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not gagged. The judge cleared it up. I'm going to testify. Well, I'm not sure I'm going to testify. And walk away. All of that is just performative art pieces that he can use on the campaign trail. We know he lies on the campaign trail. The prosecutors played the clips in the courtroom already for the jury in New York. All the times that Donald Trump claimed he didn't know any of the women, like Karen McDougal, who he had a long affair with, or Stormy Daniels, who he had sex with once. He didn't know any of these women. Doesn't know where they got that story from. And then you hear the tapes and the recordings made by Michael Cohen primarily, where he acknowledges that he knows all of these women. Or David Becker testifies that they had long conversations about Karen McDougal to make sure that she was shut up and she was paid off. And Michael Cohen talking about Stormy Daniels, and him talking to Michael Cohen about Stormy Daniels. At the same time, he told his listeners and followers and audience and people that follow him, they didn't know any of these people. Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? That's apparently is a defense for Donald Trump. So I'm going to cover it all, just like I always do. If you've come for smoke or sunshine, you've come to the wrong place. No one controls our editorial. There's no one who controls my content. I bring it to you here. I tell you the truth from my vast experience, 32 years practice in law in the courthouses and courtrooms that I talk about, at the intersection of law and politics. It's a reason I founded, along with Ben Meiselas, Legal AF 4 years ago. It's for this moment. It was for this moment to have an audience that's receptive, that wants to learn, right? Without being patronized, without being coddled, and told the truth. And that's why we joke that it's the Almost Never Wrong podcast called Legal AF. It's on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then on audio podcast platforms of your choice. Join us there. If you want to really help me and the network, just leave me a comment here and a thumbs up. It helps. It's like a 5-star Uber rating. And follow the show. Listen to the show. Join us. We'll tell you why we call it Legal AF. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popak reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.